I was getting on a plane when the monetization video dropped a couple weeks ago, but now I am back at my computer and I have important monetization questions, which we will talk about later in the video. First, let's do a quick summary of what we have learned from the devs monetization videos, what patterns we can see in the upcoming Serpent Moon event, and then we can get into those super thought-provoking questions from just some guy. So, dev videos first. Why have the monetization changes happened? Publishing manager Hans said they needed to move away from game sales as the primary revenue stream, and that makes sense. Eventually, you just kind of run out of people to sell the game to in a consistent way. Hans also said they did a data review back in 2021, and they found that they were giving away too many blood bonds, and they were just being pumped into the economy at a rate that just kind of blows my mind. They said blood bonds were the lowest source of revenue and were not sustainable for the long term. For every 100 blood bonds given away, they sold only 10, which is pretty crazy when you think of blood bonds as the premium Hunt Showdown currency. So, following this, they had two options: introduce a new premium currency, which thank God they didn't. I hate playing games where there's like 6 currencies and tokens and blah blah blah. Free-to-play games are really bad about that. The other option was to make small changes, which is the path they chose and what we will talk about. So the first thing is the event prices. You have probably noticed event monetization has gone up. In the video, they say their review showed the events needed to increase revenue for a better return on investment and to drive more resources to making the changes players want to see in the future. So the focus was not to break even on event development, but drive and support future content down the line. They also said that DLC revenue was low, but it was a more reliable and stable source of income. So they increased the prices of their DLC and Blood Bond only legendary skins, but to be fair to players, they also increased the sale options to compensate for that. So you can buy DLC bundles on sale, and if you already own an item in the bundle, you get extra money off the total price of that bundle. And they've also been running more Blood Bond sales on legendary skins. So they have tried to increase their revenue from DLC and skins, but they have also offset some of those costs to be fair to players. And then they talked about plans for the future, the first of which being the black market, which we saw introduced in 1.9. That's this new system where there are 3 vendors and they will sell discounted legendary skins, and you can use blood bonds to re-roll from certain bundles to try to get certain skins. There is an RNG element to this, but I'm pretty okay with how it's been implemented. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to, it's just there. And it is only legendary cosmetic items that you can already get in the store. Hans also said they plan to remove blood bonds from the trait respec, health respec, and weapon cleaning and convert those systems to hunt dollars, which I'm super excited about. That is like the biggest revelation for me. I always thought it was weird that those systems were blood bond systems, like trait respec, but you spend blood bonds. It never made sense to me. But we also got confirmation that they plan to add more blood bond rewards in more places, and they mentioned the summon system where you get rewarded for completing those summons. And the next section following that was the balance of the economy, where they addressed a few questions that were just kind of lingering. So, how is the economy after these changes that they've made? Hans said it is better, but there is more work to do. The next question is, will there be more monetization changes? And the answer is yes, there will be more monetization experimentation in events, and maybe adding more cosmetic options, which we'll talk about in just a sec. And finally, the last question, what would the devs say to people upset about the monetization changes? I'm just going to play that clip for you in its entirety. It's pretty short, and then we can continue.
We know that monetization is always a very sensitive and mostly negative topic in the community, and a lot of people are unhappy with these changes. What would you say to those players?
That's important that we hear from you, so we can take that into consideration. When we do make a mistake, please remember that we don't do that because we are money hungry, but because we're humans.
Okay, so after that first video, they did a follow-up one to address any questions that popped up from the first monetization video. Ben said the devs are not planning to add exclusive items to the black market. I just want to say I am sorry. I floated that idea in a video. My bad. I was just speculating. Another thing is they increased the discount in the black market to 40% off, and they addressed why they can release so many DLC bundles, whereas gameplay and content changes take more time. They said that skins require artists primarily, whereas gameplay and content changes require more departments like animators, programmers, all that. And finally, they have heard the suggestion for battle passes and will experiment more in the future, which I think is a good transition to the Serpent Moon event, which we have started to see glimpses of. So we saw the new trailer as well as partnered videos, and we know that Crytek is implementing their version of a battle pass with this event. And as we have seen in previous events, I imagine we will see the return of Blood Bond bundles and Blood Bond skins to further deplete those Blood Bond reserves people have been sitting on. In addition to their newest DLC, which again they said is less revenue, but it is a stable source of it. So the takeaway about the Serpent Moon event is we are seeing this monetization stuff play out in real time, which is pretty cool. There aren't too many surprises following their transparency update, and that's exactly what you want for a topic like this. But again, I think it was super cool for the devs to lay this out for us. Anyone that is like me is probably constantly looking for the patterns to see what comes next. For example, they recently removed the leaderboards with update 1.9, which pretty weird timing. But I think we can speculate that there will be something leaderboard related coming soon. If I'm right, that will make sense in a couple days. While I think we got a lot of good information from these videos, I do still have a few questions about the economy and monetization. In that first video, Hans says that the economy in Hunt is in a delicate balance, but outside looking in, I struggle to see what that balance is when it comes to Hunt dollars. I'm curious what percent of players are sitting on more than 100k Hunt dollars in reserve. And further, how does the economy actually affect weapon balance in its current iteration? I know that's not monetization, but if this Hunt dollar economy is closely tied to the Blood Bond one, I would love to see some updates addressing the Hunt dollar economy. But about monetization specifically, this event lasts about 2 months. Does that mean we have these event icons on our screen for the next 2 months? Not that I am opposed to that specifically, but Hunt does have a pretty simplistic HUD that sets it apart from other games, and people already don't like the pop-ups in the menu. So is this a new version of in-your-face monetization, and how will the community respond to that? And looking toward the future, the devs say they know Hunt can grow, but they need to make sure the revenue systems are set to support that. That makes sense, but it's also a double-edged sword. If you ask the community to be more open about supporting the game, which I think a majority are willing to do, it's super important that the communication doesn't backslide. The holiday season is quickly approaching, which usually means at least 2 events, one in October and one in December. But if there is a new priority on monetization, which again, it's fine, it's a business, does the content timeline align with this? By that I mean, if we get events like this one, the Serpent Moon, and we swallow the pill that they just cost more than they used to, are the content drops on target to release close to these events? Or will it be a sticky situation where the new events will have a monetization focus and there is stuff in the works but not ready for deployment? We saw that a little bit with the Trader's Moon event where people were, let's just say, whelmed about the content on offer and upset about the new focus on bringing in revenue. Again, this isn't criticism, just something I hope the devs are considering and planning for. I appreciate that Crytek was transparent, and those videos could be a new trend in the industry about transparency from game developers. It's cool to see Crytek at the forefront of what I hope is a movement more games will follow. But for now, that is it for monetization. I'm sure it'll keep coming up in future videos, but I just wanted to address what we have so far. Let me know your thoughts on what we discussed. Do you have any questions about monetization going forward? And I'm just going to run this clip again, but until the next video.
We want Hunt to be around for a very long time. We know it can grow, and we have a lot of plans for how we can make it grow. And to be able to do that, we need to be able to sustain the game. And because of that, this is a necessary thing. But whatever we do, we always want it to be with player choice in mind, without it affecting anything on the core gameplay, so you can keep playing in the way that you want to play. Our communication around this topic definitely could have been better, and this is also why we're making this video. Please keep giving that kind of feedback, and if necessary, we do a follow-up video on this.